Welcome to our channel. Today we bring you some of the top 10 NFL upsets of all time. Before we continue, please press the subscribe button and the bell notification icon to receive regular updates from us whenever we upload a video. Fox Sports South narrates the NFL's 16 biggest surprises of the Super Bowl, an abstract compilation that represents both normal season and season finisher excursions. Why 16? Because we just had to incorporate a few stunners that represented the most noteworthy game scores in Monday Night Football history. Let's get started. 1. Super Bowl III. Matchup: the AFL's New York Jets, 11-3, versus the NFL's Baltimore Colts, 13-1. Date played: January 12, 1969. Stadium and city: Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida. Final score: Jets 16, Colts 7. The upset that happened. Joe Namath and the Jets worked well on his promise by controlling the game from the get-go, building a 16-0 lead in the fourth quarter. The Jets' defense gave the Colts' Earl Morrall a huge challenge inconvenience, grabbing his 3 passes before replacing Johnny Unitas, who led Baltimore to its touch just minutes before the game. Broadway Joe Namath was named the game's all-time leading scorer after finishing 17 of 28 in 206 yards, but threw a tackle of bad touchdowns, making him the first MVP to score in big game history. 2. Super Bowl 42. Matchup: the New England Patriots, 16-0, versus the New York Giants, 10-6. Date played: February 3, 2008. Stadium and city: the University of Phoenix Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Final score: Jets 17, Patriots 14. The upset that happened. The game was close, with all the Patriots going into the 7-3 round, followed by a third-point quarterback. Afterward, the so-called helmet catch took place when Manning, after narrowly escaping the Patriots under 3 in the back, threw the ball to senior receiver David Tyree, who jumped into the air to catch it and had to hold the ball between his hand and helmet to keep it from falling as it went. That catch, also called 10 years play by NFL Films, led to the game-winning impact and a huge giant underdog win, the third franchise of 4 Super Bowl awards. 3. Super Bowl 36. Matchup: St. Louis Rams, 14-2, versus New England Patriots, 11-5. Date played: February 3, 2002. Stadium and city: Louisiana Superdome, now the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, in New Orleans, Louisiana. Final score: Patriots 20, Rams 17. The upset that happened. This was a tough fight between Warner, a veteran, and Brady, then a bully under the Institute. So it was in the hands of the Patriots to catch a more experienced veteran, barely keeping the game tied at 17-17 with less than 2 minutes to go. In what would have been his signature move, with no time left and only a minute and a half left, Brady dropped his team off at the field and stopped Adam Vinatieri, who placed a place kicker intending to win the 48-yard field game, kicking as time went on. It was the first in his 6th Super Bowl tournament with head coach Bill Belichick, a number that could rise or fall in Brady's NFL home in 2020. 4. Browns upset Eagles in 1950 opener. Matchup: AAFC champion Cleveland Browns versus NFL champion Philadelphia Eagles. Date played: September 16, 1950. Stadium and city: Municipal Stadium, later JFK Stadium, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Final score: Browns 35, Eagles 10. The upset that happened. This was Cleveland Browns' first season in the NFL. No one thought they had any chance of winning against the Philadelphia Eagles, who were considered the world's best football team at the time. Aside from the kind of football played by Paul Brown's Cleveland team, fast-moving quarterback passes that could have been accurately thrown during a strike, it was a style the Eagles had never faced before and completely removed them from the embarrassing 10-35 loss. As a result of Brown's shocking outburst, 3 AAFC teams, Cleveland, San Francisco 49ers, and Baltimore Colts, became well integrated into the National Football League. 5. Super Bowl 32. Matchup: Green Bay Packers, 13-3, versus Denver Broncos, 12-4. Date played: January 25, 1998. Stadium and city: Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego, California. Final score: Broncos 31, Packers 24. The upset that happened. This was the closest game of all. The Broncos led by half to 17 to 14 points, but the Packers tied the game with 17 minutes and 13 minutes to go. After that, despite facing a debilitating migraine that put him out of the game for about a quarter, Denver fullback Terrell Davis hit a touch forward with 1:45 left. The Denver Broncos became the first wildcard team to win the Super Bowl since the Oakland Raiders won the Super Bowl 25 as a wildcard team back in 1980. 6. Jaguars upset Broncos in 1996-97 playoffs. Matchup: Jacksonville Jaguars 9-7 versus Denver Broncos 13-3. Date played: January 4th, 1997. Stadium and City, Mile High Stadium in Denver, Colorado. Final score: Jaguars 30, Broncos 27. The upset that happened: after the Broncos finished the first quarter with a 12-0 lead, the Jaguars scored 13 unanswered points in the second quarter to increase 13-12 in the second half, scoring goals including 80-yard, 12-play touch drive, and a yard goal. 42 less than a minute before halfway through. The Jaguars kept the Broncos on board for the quarterback while sending their touch through 31 yards to wide receiver Keenan McArdle. Although Denver collected 15 points in the fourth quarter, they came with a field goal and the Jaguars got the win, with quarterback Mark Brunell having a game to play after 17 years of NFL performances. 7. Redskins Scabs beat America's team. Matchup: Washington Redskins 11-4 versus Dallas Cowboys 7-8. Date played: January 27, 1987. Week 5. Stadium and City, Tampa Stadium in Tampa, Florida. Final score: Redskins 13, Cowboys 7. The upset that happened: officially, it was the Dallas Cowboy veterans who started the fight against the Washington Redskins team and quickly recruited replacements who were free NFL agent owners or those who were unemployed after the recent Canadian Football League suspension. The game came down to the Redskins for a fourth down in the Washington 13-yard line with 2 seconds of play in the game, conceding a narrow 13-7 victory and a 4-1 record, 3 of those victories coming at the time of replacement. Cowboys head coach Tom Landry has received a lot of criticism for pitting veterans against temporary players at the time, but despite those efforts, Dallas finished the season with a 7-8 record and was less visible when Washington ended up winning it all. 8. Super Bowl 25. Matchup: Buffalo Bills 13-3 versus New York Giants 13-3. Date played: January 27, 1991. Stadium and City, Tampa Stadium in Tampa, Florida. Final score: Giants 20, Bills 19. The upset that happened: in the first Buffalo Bills' first appearance, the Super Bowl head coach Marv Levy used a no-holds-barred offense to keep the big Parcells Giants from anticipating most of the game, with the Bills leading the game halfway through by 12 to 10 points. With only 8 seconds left in the fourth quarter and a 1-point drop, the Bills had a chance to win the game with a goal of 47 yards, but Scott Norwood kicked the ball wide right and caused Buffalo to lose that incredible dropped game by only 1 point. It was the first time that had ever happened in the history of the Super Bowl. Not a great legacy for Norwood. 9. 1987-88 NFC Divisional Playoffs. Matchup: Minnesota Vikings 8-7 versus San Francisco 49ers 13-2. Date played: January 9th, 1988. Stadium and City, Candlestick Park in San Francisco, California. Final score: 49ers 13, Vikings 7. The upset that happened: San Francisco finished their regular season with 3 blowouts and a combined 124-7 points. So going into the game against an 8-7 wildcard team as the Vikings seemed to be a definite victory for head coach Bill Walsh, Montana, Rice, and other 9 Miners. 13-2. The Vikings entered the third quarter ahead of the 27-10 after scoring 17 points in the second quarter. Meanwhile, the 49ers needed 1 more touchdown with 3:42 remaining in the game and the clock running. During the third quarter, Joe Montana, their leading passer, was benched in favor of Steve Young, putting coach Bill Walsh on the hot seat. Young ran for 1 touchdown and threw for another, but it was too little and far too late to save the 49ers. Young was unable to get it done for them despite finishing 12 of 17 in 158 yards and a touchdown with an interception. 10. Super Bowl 4. Matchup: NFL's Minnesota Vikings 12-2 versus AFL's Kansas City Chiefs, 11-3. Date played, January 11, 1970. Stadium and city, Tulane Stadium in New Orleans, Louisiana. Final score, Chiefs 23, Vikings 7. The upset that happened. After Kansas City Chiefs AFL was beaten in Super Bowl I by the Green Bay Packers by 35-10 points, they did not receive much respect from the sports writers of the time and were expected to be exposed by the Vikings in the big game. It didn't help either team that the conditions were wet that day, but even though Chiefs coach Hank Stram teased his Vikings teammate Bud Grant for arranging a game to close Minnesota's powerful running game, he put them in just 67 yards on the ground over 60 minutes. Another important factor in the frustration were the penalties. The Chiefs caught Vikings quarterback Joe Kapp 3 times and conceded 2 errors. This did not hurt Kansas City, and it kept the Vikings completely off the board in the fourth quarter. Finally, this list just wouldn't be complete without these honorable mentions. The Seahawks over the Dolphins, 1983 AFC end-of-the-season game. The Patriots over the Chargers, 2006 AFC end-of-the-season games. The Steelers over the Colts, 2005 AFC end-of-the-season games. And the Cowboys over the Vikings in the 1975 NFC end-of-the-season games. We hope you enjoyed this trip down memory lane. Thanks for watching. Please comment down below which upset you liked the most. What did we miss and what would you like to see in the future? Don't forget to click on the thumbs up button and subscribe so you never miss any of our fun and informative content.